Welcome back to Just Scrap Radio on BJPenn.com. I'm your host, Cole Shelton, episode 28 for you ahead of UFC Vegas 19. We got a good lineup for you. We're first joined by Alexey Oleynik, that legend heavyweight who's fighting in his 75th professional fight this Saturday night against Chris Daukaus, which is just absolutely insane. So we talk about how he's been able to fight for so long, still going if he's going to get to 100 fights. Because, the way he's been going, maybe that's a possibility. I know he's in his 40s, but he still seems like he's going to keep on fighting for quite a while. But good chat with Alexey, his kids made a surprise appearance to help him understand some of the English questions because he doesn't fully speak English yet, but some really good insight from Alexey on this fight and it just his career overall, because this guy's a legend and he even admits his career is winding down, so he really doesn't know how much longer he has left. We're then joined by his opponent in Chris Daukaus. Good chat with Chris Daukaus about this fight, like his UFC debut against Parker Porter. No one really knew who he was. His second fight, he was still a massive underdog. He's overlooked. Now he's the betting favorite, so he's quite surprised when I revealed that to him. But this is a big fight for Chris Daukaus. If Chris Daukaus wants to become a ranked heavyweight, like this is the fight he has to win. And he basically knows he can't go, he can go to the ground with Oleynik, but it wouldn't be wise for him to go down to the ground. He knows Oleynik's one path to victory is to go down and submit him, and he thinks he has all the power to be able to knock Oleynik out, as he's seen him get knocked out in the past. We're then joined by Jared Gordon to preview his featherweight fight against Danny Chavez. Good chat with Jared Gordon, just about Stanford MMA, that team that's been doing really well. And his last fight week, which was kind of crazy, so he goes out to Fight Island, all his cornermen test positive for COVID. His fiance or his wife tests positive for COVID. They have a miscarriage. All this crazy stuff happens, but somehow Gordon doesn't get it, which was completely surprising him. He ends up fighting, gets Paul Felder, gets Eric Nixick out there, gets Gary Tonin in his corner, just a mash of cornermen. So, and I even joked with him about if he paid Paul Felder yet, because Paul Felder on the commentary was saying, hey, I need 5% for that. But good talk with Jared about this fight and what a win over Danny Chavez does for him. And we close out the show with Drakkar Klose. This should be noted, this interview was filmed prior to the Luis Pena stepping up. This is when he was fighting Jai Herbert, but I kept it in because it's a really insightful chat about what's Drakkar Klose's thoughts on the UFC right now. He doesn't seem too happy. He knows he isn't getting pushed. He says the free agency is something he really wants to test. So it was a really insightful chat, but it was about him not happy with the rankings, not happy with how certain things work in the UFC, and him just ready to test free agency, what it's all about. So really insightful chat. There is some parts about his fight against Herbert which are no longer relevant, but that stuff was really interesting, so I had to leave it in. But thank you all for listening. Be sure to share the show, subscribe, and thanks again. All right, we're joined by UFC heavyweight Alexey Oleynik, who's returning pretty soon. Alexey, how's it going?
Hi, guys. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing well. Obviously, returning against Chris Daukaus, are you a bit disappointed you're not fighting a ranked guy?
Please say it again.
Are you disappointed you're not fighting a ranked guy?
No. One of the main reasons because any UFC fighter is very tough and very ranked guy. Sometimes we have legends like Mark Hunt, like Mirko Filipovic, like Alistair Overeem, like Fabricio Verdum. This legend of mixed martial arts with big name. But sometimes we fight with guys who don't have a big name, but they very tough and they very famous because they UFC fighter and UFC heavyweight fighters. My opponent, tough guy, he have 9 win and all win he win TKO or TKO or KO. He very cool striker and also he have black belt. This very dangerous up for me.
What do you take away from your last fight?
What does mean take away?
Убиваешь.
Huh?
Убиваешь.
What does mean pick away? Sorry.
Like, what did you learn from that fight?
А, что ты выучил?
It's very difficult learn for me because I fight many times. That's why not too easy something learn. Of course, I something learn, but I don't say it. I don't think this fight change all my mind, all my life, all my everything. No, little bit. When you fight first time, second, three, fight 10 times, yes, you learn a lot. But each next fight you learn less and less. Of course, I learn, but not too much.
This
I,
is your
I
this
no,
is your
it's okay.
75th professional fight. What's been the secret to allow you to fight so long?
No any secret. Main secret is your various heart. Heart? Seriously.
The heart.
Heart. If you have various hearts, you can fight and fight. Fight is a style of my life. This not something economy my body, eat healthy food or something else. No. Most important here and here.
Do you think you'll get to 100 fights?
I don't think so, but nobody knows. Only God knows this.
How many more fights do you think you have in you?
I don't think about how much I must fight more. If I have power, if I have fire in my heart, I fight. If I don't have nothing from that, I don't fight. It's not depend about count 77 and finish. No, never. And 85 and finish. 100 and finish. No, I don't think about number. I think only about my power, my inside fair in my soul, in my heart.
How do you see this fight playing out?
Что я делаю?
Repeat, please.
This is my daughter. She translator. She 10 years old.
How do you see it playing out, this fight?
Как ты видишь, планируешь?
This Charles Daukaus ask you, asking you. Yeah, of course, I'm planning something. I have game plan. I train this game plan, and I see my fight in my mind. But I can't say to you about everything. I just can say to you very simple things. This is a cool guy. He young. He strong. He have a strong head. He very good striker. That's all. He black belt. This more important for me. Black belt than everything more.
What's it been like?
I think I ready for everything. I think I'm ready for striking and for wrestling. I hope.
What's it been like fighting in front of no crowd?
А как чувствуется, когда ты борешься перед ноль людей? Нет, не перед
This not important for me. You said before I fight 75 times, 74 times. Sometimes I fight no people. Sometimes I fight thousands and thousands people. This not important. Sometimes it's better fight with no people because not so loud in the hall, and I can see my corner, my coaches, and you more wild. because you hear what is your opponent. You hear your opponent is breathe. You hear every punch. This cool, not bad. I know million people watch for that on the TV, on the internet, everywhere, YouTube. No problem.
What has training been like at ATT?
What?
Как тренинг
Тише.
был
Normal, like usually, I have my coaches. We think about our game plan together, and I think not bad. Sometimes better than usually. Sometimes it's worse, but main is good. Everything good.
Are you hoping to get another submission win here?
Nobody knows. I don't know too. I try doing something in striking. If I can't, I try doing in something in wrestling. If I can't, I'm return again to striking. Wrestling, striking. Something must be doing well. I hope.
Are you hoping you get another legend after this win? Because you fought a lot of these legends in this sport.
I hope, but not too much legend in UFC, in world, who not fight with me before. Who is legend? Marhant legend, but we have many young guys. We have many cool guys. We have many super strong guys, but they not legend yet. Not yet. Legend name is legend.
Are you hoping to have an active year?
I hope. I think everybody, every good fighters hope for that. I hope too.
Last thing is, what's the ideal 2021 for you?
I don't know. 3-4 fights with win. This was good. Sounds good.
Are you still chasing the heavyweight title, or are you just looking for fun fights?
Ask me about that after fight.
All right, Alexey, thank you so much for the time. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Was that your daughter or son translating?
And daughter and son together.
I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Yep. All right, we're joined by UFC heavyweight Chris Daukaus, who's got a big fight coming up here. Chris, how's it going?
I'm doing good. You know, it's a good day today. So, you know, you got like 15 inches of snow outside of my house, so it's a little hard to train today, but it's going good.
Yeah, obviously, big fight coming up here. Third UFC fight. Would you ever picture your third UFC fight? You're fighting the 10th ranked guy in the world.
No. This is definitely it's definitely something that we weren't expecting, but it's definitely something that we're meeting head on, and we're definitely going to take full advantage of this.
Your last fight, you were a big underdog against Rodrigo, and you knocked out in 45 seconds. Like, did that result surprise you? Not winning that way, obviously getting the win, but knocking him out that quick. Like, was that a surprising win for you?
A little bit, yeah. I thought that he was going to be able to, you know, from watching his past fights, take a little bit more, you know, of the punches. I really didn't expect him to stand on the feet. I kind of figured he would, you know, after that first exchange that we had, I figured he was, you know, close the distance and then definitely try and clinch up. But for whatever reason, he just backed up, and you know, I was just my coaches, and they were just telling me to push it, and you know, the simple little left hook caught him, put him down, and finished him up. So it was good.
And you're fighting Alexey Oleynik here. You have 13 professional fights. When he makes the walk there, this will be his 75th professional MMA fight. Like,
yes.
What's that like? Could you even imagine getting to 75 fights?
No. Realistically, I hope to never fight 75 fights. You know, I mean, the ability to fight 75 fights would be awesome. You know, not having to worry about money or any kind of like physical damage, you know, brain damage, anything like that. So just going out there and just, you know, fighting for fun would be great to do 75. But honestly, you know, he's been doing it forever. There's a reason that his record is the way that it is. So we're definitely not taking him lightly because, you know, he is Alexey Oleynik and he is the number 10 guy in the world. So
style-wise, like, is this basically a fight you think you keep it standing? It's a favorable matchup for you because we've seen Alexey get knocked out quite often recently, but if he gets down to the ground, everyone knows he just needs like a second to get down to the ground and he can end a fight real quick.
Yeah, I guess you could always go back to the whole moniker, you know, that striker versus grappler type thing, but people really don't, you know, they haven't seen my grappling. Don't want to show people, you know, that grappling. I'd much rather be, you know, striking for this fight, obviously, just because he's so dangerous on the ground. But it's nothing that we're not shying away from that at all. You know, you're not going to see me pulling guard on this guy, but if he gets that overhook and he decides to pull guard, we'll be fine on the ground. So it'll be good.
You even look at his last two fights, like he beat Fabricio Verdum, who's a former champion, and then even against Derek Lewis, even though he got knocked out, like that first round, Alexey controlled him on the ground. So do you still think even at 43, like he's still one of these top heavyweights in the world?
Absolutely. There's a reason why he's number 10 in the world. He can dictate where the fights goes. That's a skill set that he has. You know, he's been doing this for a while. He knows all the little tricks and, you know, crafty ways that veterans have of getting the fight, you know, where they want it. And that's what we expect. That's what we're game planning for. We're expecting for, you know, him to be, you know, pushing forward, much like he's done in his most recent fights, pushing forward into the clinch. And then, you know, trying to get the fight to the floor, whether it be at the end of the first round or starting in the second round. He in his most recent fights, he has been, you know, working on the cage, trying to beat the body up a lot. So we've definitely taken our necessary steps in game planning.
Your brother's a phenomenal grappler. Like, how important is he going to be in this training camp, just helping you with Alexey, especially with how good of a grappler Alexey is?
Yeah, he's one of the key components, not with just this fight camp, but with all the fight camps. He's my number one partner. And then we have another core group of like heavyweight guys who, you know, they're always looking at our matchups, and then we're always game planning on what, you know, certain things that we should be doing. Both myself and my brother when he has a fight. So everyone knows what we're going to be doing. Everyone in camp knows exactly, you know, how to approach this fight, and we're just going to keep pushing. You know, these last couple weeks, pushing, and then you know, make that statement February 20th, just so, you know, take that number 10 spot. So it'll be good.
You're you're a pretty big favorite in this fight. It's kind of weird. You were a plus 200 underdog to your last fight. Now you're about a minus 200 favorite. Does that surprise you, especially taking this
really?
step up in competition?
Yeah, I actually didn't know the odds. So yeah, yeah, that's actually really surprising. I wouldn't have done that if I was the odd makers. I would just, you know, it's Alexey Oleynik. You know, he's number 10 in the world. He's got 75 fights. I guess the odds makers are seeing something. But yeah, that's definitely weird, especially being the favorite, especially for the third fight in, you know, my UFC career. But you know, it's good, I guess, for certain people who are betting. But yeah, I mean, going back to the Rodrigo fight, it's definitely weird. I thought that might be a little bit closer once people started telling me about that. But, you know, I didn't expect to be, you know, plus whatever. It's plus, would you say it's plus 250, plus 200? That's crazy.
Yeah, Nascimento, you were plus 210. You closed at.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
yeah, and then this one is what?
Right now you're minus 195, so almost minus 200.
All right. That's not too bad. I'll take that.
Yeah. How do you see this fight playing out? Because I probably assume you think you can knock this guy out.
Yeah. I mean, I've been saying it this couple of fights. You know, people are going to want to test the waters with me on the feet, and then they're going to want to close that gap. Of the people who I fought recently, my last two fights, Alexey, he definitely can close that gap. He definitely can keep me on the cage, and then he can take me down. But it's all about the game plan. It's all about me being on point that night, and keep putting in the work during this camp to make sure that doesn't happen. But yeah, we'll touch gloves, come out, touch him a couple times. Hopefully, he falls down. If he doesn't, I'll defend the takedown, defend the, and then we'll work for the finish. That's the game plan every time.
Obviously, Alexey is ranked 10. So, what do you think a win here does for you? It's obviously going to put you in the ranks. Like, do you think it will put you into that top 10?
It should. I mean, where I'm from, you keep what you kill, pretty much. So,
yeah,
I take out the number 10 guy. There's no reason why I shouldn't be number 10. I mean, no disrespect to 15 through 11, but if I'm beating the number 10 guy, I'm taking his spot. That's it. So,
well, what would that mean for you to already have a ranking beside your name, like a number, possibly a single digit beside your name, only 3 fights in?
It would mean everything. It would mean that the self-belief that I've had and the confidence that I had outside when I was outside of UFC is just real. It's just of what I've been saying all these years, that I'm a top heavyweight in the world, and it's just all I needed was that shot. I just needed that chance to sign for the UFC or another major organization around the world. I just needed to get on that stage to show people that I am a top heavyweight in the world.
Will we see any call outs from you with the win? Because obviously you could call a good shot and get someone that you want, especially the win over Alexey.
We'll see, because a lot of heavyweights are going to be fighting in the next month or so. So there's really no reason to be calling people out, especially when they already have a fight lined up. If there's, I see something or, something comes up, I'm going to call out. But I get the win, and then it's realistically, it's just anyone ranked above me. So, 9 through 1. I'll take anyone. I know that a lot of people have fights coming up. Overeem and Volkov have a fight this weekend. And then I seen Cyril has a fight with Rosenstrike. Aspinall has a fight with Arlovsky the same night as I'm fighting. Obviously, Derek Lewis and Curtis Blades are fighting the same night that I'm fighting. So there's a whole big shakeup going to be happening in the heavyweight division in the next month or so. So, we'll see what happens with my fight, and then we'll see what happens with the events coming up after that. And then, I'll follow me on social media, and you'll be seeing who I'll be calling out then. So it'll be good.
As someone that has a brother myself, I know how competitive me and him are. So are you and Kyle competitive? Like, do you kind of have this side thing of who gets that belt first?
Absolutely. I mean, he's won a belt in the regional promotion. But we're super competitive in everything that we do. We could be playing Mario Kart on the Nintendo Switch. It doesn't matter. We're super competitive. But you know what? It's not really about the belt right now. We're just we're making sure that people know us. We're making sure that we're an established fighter in each of our division. We're just going to keep pushing forward. Our goals are right now is just to win. Then after my fight and then his fight coming up, it'll certainly prove that.
Would you guys ever want to be on the same UFC card together, or do you think that'd be too much pressure for your parents, especially?
No. I mean, we fought on the same card regionally, on the CFFC card. I think it was back in 2017. We fought on the same thing. No, I'm fine with it. We could do a main co-main event. Doesn't matter to me. So if the UFC wants something to do that, put that together. I'm totally happy with headliner card with him being in the main event, or vice versa. I'll co-main it, and then he beats the main event. So I'm down for whatever.
And just last thing, like, what's the ideal 2021 for you? Because a win here, you're probably ranked 10. Like, you could easily be a top 5 heavyweight by the end of this year.
Yeah. And realistically, that's the goal. Take out the number 10 guy coming up in a couple weeks. Get another fight, hopefully, soon after that, if no injuries or anything like that. I'd ideally like to fight roughly 3 to 4 times this year, maybe 5 times, depending on how quick a turnaround is, and then end out the year in that top 5, maybe top 3 spot. So 2022, number 1 contender fight early in 2022, and then going for that belt in 2022. So it'll be good.
All right, well, Chris, thank you so much for the time, man. I really appreciate it.
Of course, thank you for having me on, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, we're joined by UFC featherweight Jared Gordon, who's returning again soon. Jared, how's it going?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing well. Obviously, successful. We dropped back down to featherweight last time out. Before we get into your fight, I just want to touch on that quickly. Was it a bit disappointing? Everyone had all these concerns. Oh, will Jared make the weight? And then it's your opponent that misses weight. Like, was that a bit frustrating for you?
I didn't really get like a lot of slack from people. I mean, I guess people were wondering how it was going to go for me, but no one was like, oh, Jared, like, they weren't really on me about it. But when your opponent misses weight, it's really, I don't mind because you get some of their purse. So it's almost like a win thing for me. Like, oh, you miss weight, so it might mean you're not ready, and I get some in your purse. So it's really, I don't really mind, to be honest.
And that fight week, if people don't know, I think that might have been one of the worst fight weeks for anyone. Obviously, everything with your family, and then your corners testing positive, or the false positive, you thinking you have COVID. Like, what was that fight week like, especially this fight, coming off a loss, drop down to featherweight, kind of like not a must win, but you got to really cement yourself in this division with a win.
Yeah. I mean, I've had some weird ups and downs in my career. And, if you look at my record, if you know what you're talking about, you look at, my opponents and the people I've lost to, it's like, oh, well, he lost to a bunch of killers. And the one fight that I was winning against Joaquin Silva, I got injured and I wound up losing. I was winning on every judge's scorecard, even in the round I lost, and I was winning that round. But whatever. So I needed to get down there and make weight. But the fight camp was crazy, obviously. And I wasn't in the gym at all because everyone was testing positive for COVID. All my teammates, Gilbert Burns, all my coaches, a lot of the other guys in my gym were, had fights lined up in other leagues and were testing positive. And I was quarantined for like 3-4 weeks before I left for Vegas. My girl got COVID. She had a miscarriage. We lost. Sorry, my dog is sneezing.
Yeah, no worries.
We lost the baby. She got COVID, and then bless you, Spanky. And then it was just insane. And then so the Friday before I left for Vegas, the UFC calls me and they're like, so what do you want to do? Who's going to corner you? And I was like, well, Felder's going to be there, and we're really close friends. Eric Nixick was cornering Dan Ige in the main event the same night that I was fighting. I'm friends with him. He said he would do it, help me out. And then Gary Tonin, who I trained with for a long period of time up at Henzo's, I didn't even know he was going to be there. When I got there, I was like, oh, Gary, what's up? And he was cornering Ryan Benoit, and he offered to help. And I was like, it was like an all-star team. And I went in there, under all the circumstances. I thought it was a lackluster fight, but I got the job done. It was 30-26, I think, across the boards on all the judges' cards. So, dominant win. Kind of in my head, it looked boring. It was boring, but I did what I had to do.
And then just last thing on this, obviously Felder took Twitter and saying on the broadcast that you owe him that 5%. Did you ever give him that?
No. And people were actually thought he was being serious. You're actually going to charge your friend? Are you guys, context through, tone through text, can't understand sometimes. But that had to be obvious that he was joking. But some people are just oblivious, I guess. But no, I never paid him. If anything, he owes me money, So.
Yeah, because I think he in the tweet too, he even had laughing faces after it. And it's I'm pretty sure. I think anyone would realize it's just a joke, but on your fight, obviously, what's it like now not having to make that travel to Fight Island, fighting in Vegas? Is that a big relief for you?
Yeah, it really is. And when I first signed the contract, the location was to be determined. So I was like, oh, I really don't want to go back there. Obviously I would have went, but we have to fly to Vegas and quarantine there, and then you got to get on a flight to Abu Dhabi, and that's 15 hours, and the jet lag, and you're cutting weight. It's exhausting. It's a lot. So yeah, it's definitely a relief to just fly a couple hours to Vegas and not be on such a different time zone, and it's just easier for sure.
And the usual corner with you for this one, like the Henry Hoof and all them?
Henry, Kami Barzini, and actually one of my first coaches, Jason Strout, who cornered me in like 14 of my pro fights, around 14 fights, came down from New York to help me out. And I think he actually is going to have a position here at Sanford, and he's going to be there with me as well. But I got 2 other teammates on the card, Chad Skelly and Phil Hawes. So there's going to be a bunch of us there. So it's going to be a good time.
Yeah, well, what's it like right now at Sanford? I think that Sanford doesn't get talked about enough into this, like gyms, the top gyms. Because if you have 2 guys from your gym fighting for a welterweight title, you're obviously doing something right. And just everyone coming out of Sanford, it's one of the top gyms in the world.
Oh, for sure. I think, obviously Kamaru has left, and he's now with Trevor Whitman, but he obviously, was, developed under Henry. But yeah, our gym is doing really well right now. And even in the local scene, we just had 4 guys fight this weekend. We went 3 for 1, and the one fight they lost, I think it was a split decision. He was winning the fight, and he just, the guy, Kyle Bochniak, so he fought a UFC veteran. He lost the fight to Kyle. He's a tough guy, but it was a great fight. And all the others were finishes. I think Andre finished James Vick. Tyler Ray finished someone with a arm triangle in the first round, and then who's the other guy? I forgot. But we did really well. Oh, Kyle, he took I forget his last name, heavyweight. Took a fight on a day's notice.
Oh, yeah,
got the W over Jack May.
Yeah, but
huge win. Obviously, that's a great win for him. Confidence booster. But yeah, Jim is doing great.
Does that give you confidence or add some like motivation or whatever just to keep up the streak, or do you not really pay any attention to that?
Sometimes that it's like, oh, I hope someone loses before me so I don't have to keep the streak going. No, but of course, yeah, if you see all your teammates doing well, then it's like, all right, we're doing something right. Chandler just finished. He's not easily finishable, and then we got Gilbert coming up. We got a bunch of monsters on this team, and it's a real team here. It's not like cliquey where it's always everyone. It's one group. It's not like groups of guys. So it's I love the gym. I love the atmosphere. I think I finally found like the place that I need to be in. It's my style, the wrestling grind, grappling grind, and Henry's kickboxing style matches my style very well. So I think I finally found the right place for me.
Well, just quickly on Chandler's, when I picked him to win, I wrote I do these betting articles. I wrote I said if you bet on him because he was plus money, and I wrote in the thing I said I believe what Michael Chandler says, that he's the best lightweight in the world. And people in the comments were just ripping me apart saying, "Oh, Hooker's gonna destroy him. Chandler's not this top guy."
Yeah, I mean, you got a guy like Hooker who is a killer, and he looked great in his last couple of fights, and then you got Chandler, who's never fought in UFC before, who obviously is a veteran and has fought monsters and beat really good fighters. But everyone's always got you got to prove yourself, and he did just that. And then he signed off with an amazing promo. And I think he's definitely he's one of the top guys in the UFC. So he's proven himself for sure.
And now to your fight with Danny Chavez, was this someone on your radar? Because I actually thought you'd get someone a bit higher ranked, especially just what you did at lightweight. You're a fairly big name. I thought they'd give you someone kind of closer to the rankings.
No, he wasn't on my radar. I like people always ask me like, oh, who do you want next? And I'm like, I'm not really at that point where I could like, where I should or I'm looking ahead because I've had some ups and downs, and I came into UFC, I did great my first 2 fights. Then I lost to Ferreira, which was I shouldn't have taken that fight. I actually was injured for that fight, but hats off to him. He's on like a 6 or 7 fight winning streak. And then I lost to Joaquim Silva in a fight that I was crushing, and that was like a huge letdown for me. Then I beat Dan Moret. Then I was supposed to fight Leo Santos. He pulled out, and they were like, well, will you fight Oliveira because we can't get him a fight? Who wants to go down to Sao Paulo and fight Oliveira in his hometown? And I was like, well, you know what? If I'm going to fight Leo Santos in his hometown or in Brazil, who's kind of like almost the same, build, same kind of fighter, I might as well fight Oliveira and it will propel my name. That fight was supposed to happen the way it happened. I truly believe that. I think God was like, all right, this is the fight that's going to make you go back to where you belong. And I got injured. I had to have eye surgery after that fight. I had a plate put in my face. But it made me move back down to 45. If I won that fight, I would have been ranked at 55.
Yeah.
Now I'm kind of stuck there. And then who do I fight after that? Everyone else are humongous guys. Everyone's bigger than me at 55, and they're all monsters. So this was supposed to happen the way it's supposed to happen. I went down to 45. I had a crazy camp, won the fight, got a new contract after the Fish Gold fight, and it's like a clean slate. I got a new contract. I'm coming off a win. I'm at the weight class I'm supposed to be at. I've had a full camp, and I think I have stylistically a fight that favors me in this next one. So this is not a marathon. I tried to jump the line before, in a sense, by fighting Oliveira. I've learned my lesson. Take things slow. I'm still learning. I think my ceiling, my potential for, my ceiling is super high. And I'm only learning more. And I feel like I've unlocked levels in this last fight camp, and I'm ready to put it on display this next fight.
How do you see this fight playing out? Because to me, I think you have better cardio. I think your wrestling's better. Striking, I think it's kind of a wash. It might slide edge to you, but I think really wherever this fight goes, I think you're probably better.
Yeah, I think that stylistically it favors me. Danny is not a pushover by any means, though. He comes and he brings it, and he loves the low calf kick, and he's dangerous. He could be very dangerous. Obviously, I'm preparing for all of that, and I think that I'm not like I think I take him down and I beat him up and I get the finish, or I just do what I did to Chris, which I want to finish. I think Mark could have stopped the fight at one point in my last fight in the 3rd round. There was a point where he was just, I was punching him in the head, and his head is just, and I'm looking at Mark like, all right, but I guess I didn't put enough emphasis on it. But this fight, I'm ready to go in there and put that, and put it on Danny. Not looking past him though. Once again, I'm ready for a fight.
With or being at 45, like, are you open to these? Like, can you take these short notice fights or like quick turnarounds? Or does it have to be like several weeks to make the cut down?
I'm probably not making a fight on a week's notice, 45. But I think I could take a fight on like 3-4 weeks, maybe 2 weeks. I've gotten better and smarter with my nutrition and, not blowing up between camps, which I had a tendency to do in the past. But now moving forward, especially after I win this next one, I want to get right back in there. I don't want to wait 6 months between fights. I don't even know why they made me wait that long this last time, but that's just the way it happened. So yeah, I'm ready to get back in there as soon as I win this next one.
Well, that was kind of my next question. Like, are you hoping to have an active year? Like, where do you see yourself at the end of the year? Because I can see yourself either fighting a ranked guy or having a number side your name at featherweight.
I'm sorry, you're gonna have to repeat that. You kind of just broke up. Sorry.
Where do you see yourself after this win? Because I think a win here, I wouldn't be surprised if you're fighting a ranked guy or someone just on the outside of the rankings.
Yeah, I think that's exactly where it'll put me. Someone that's ranked like top 15 or between 15 and 10, and or someone that's like right there also. So I think, yeah, and I think that the time and the names that I fought in UFC, after I win this next one, I think I deserve something like that. And I know that this is my time to go on a big stride and make a run for the top 10, top 5, then, obviously the belt, which is, I think, every fighter in the UFC, that's the goal. I don't think there's anyone that doesn't believe that they can win the belt or not,
It's just two more things. Obviously, Henry Hooft, one of the best strikers, kickboxers. How important has he been just helping elevate your striking games? Everyone knows how good of a wrestler you already are.
He's been really instrumental in the last couple months for me. I didn't get to work with him a whole ton before the last one because of all of his circumstances, but we've gotten in a lot of work, and just simple things, that's his motto too, is keep it simple. So little things I'm like, oh wow, that makes a lot of sense, and just the mentality too. I've known Henry actually for a long time. I've known him for over 10 years, and he's seen me at my lowest, and he knows that he's like, look, Jared, we know you could fight. We know you're going to come forward, and we know you're going to go in there and fight. But you don't have to fight. You don't have to be a fighter. You could go in there and play it smart. And, so just little things that he says, which make a big difference. And, obviously the technique and doing pads with him and, but I feel like it's more of a mentality mindset. And, just picking up little things, which will help me a lot along the way, which make a big difference. So, yeah, Henry is the man, and the vibe in the gym is awesome. I love it here, and I'm really excited to show off my skill set, which I really don't believe I have yet. I don't think I did in my first two, kind of, but I think I'm flying under the radar big time.
Just last thing, you've been on Bilal show a couple times. You had to do that stupid shower with your clothes on, but you won the rug. Did you ever get the rug?
What do you think?
No. I don't think you did.
I have not received my rug, and I have not received my $500 gold chain. Apparently, and I love gold. I have a nice gold chain, and I'm excited. When someone tells me, "Yo, you have a chance to win a gold chain," I'm like, "Man, put me in," But you know what? It was actually more or less hey, let the guys keep the products. I don't need a rug or a gold chain. Give it to someone else. Bilal's a close friend of mine, and I would never. I don't want to take things from him or his sponsors. Just let it be for the show.
Yeah. All right. Well, Jared, thank you so much for the time, man. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right. We're joined by UFC lightweight Drakkar Klose, who's got a big fight coming up. Drakkar, how's it going?
It's going good, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you for coming on. Obviously, before we get into your fight, let's talk about last year. You obviously have that fight of the year contender against Beneil Dariush, so close to finishing him. And then after that, you weren't able to get a fight. What was everything like after that? Because I thought the UFC would have tried to book you pretty soon just to kind of build off that fight.
It was some injury. I had to get surgery. Kind of happened a little bit before, during the fight a little bit. It kind of made it worse, so I had to get it fixed. So it just kind of sucks, It's always something, man. Felt good going in, and then got injured, and I never can string a couple fights along in a year. It's always one. So hopefully this year, I can get 3 to 4 in.
Yeah, has that been a bit frustrating for you just because you had that one fight in 2019, you had the one fight in 2020, and fighting in early 2020, I'm sure you imagine that was setting you up nicely for 3-4 fights out of the year.
Yeah, it is, man. Especially when you lose like that, you only get one check, and it's how are you gonna, support your family on that one check, and being injured, and I don't know. So hopefully I can just stay healthy. Yeah, it's hard to this sport is hard, so it just sucks.
And this will be your first time fighting in this pandemic with no audience and everything. You've obviously seen Courtney fight twice during this time. How much do you think that's going to help? Because you've already done kind of a fight week like that, even though you weren't the one fighting.
I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be good for me. You know what I mean? It'll keep my emotions down. The fans, sometimes you might not hit the guy hard, and the fans react to it, and in your head, you'd be like, oh, I rock this guy. And then you go crazy. And then you end up getting knocked out like I did.
Is that kind of what happened with Beneil? Because that entire sequence was crazy. It was like you hurt him really bad. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you were kind of just walking him down, which most people would do when they have someone hurt in that situation. Then he kind of just caught you, and it kind of changes the entire tide. Like, do you think if there's no fans, it kind of would calm you down? You wouldn't maybe have rushed that like that?
Yeah, man, I don't know. Just that whole fight card, it was crazy. Like, once I got in the cage, I seen Iron Man, Michael Irvin, like all these celebrities, and I'm like, man, I'm about to put a show on. And then once I rocked them, I just went crazy, and I'm like, I'm about to party with these dudes. And then, nope, didn't happen.
How weird is it to look back that your fight is still the last ever event with like a sold out arena?
I know that's crazy. I was just telling someone the other day, like, my fight was the last one before, all the pandemic hit, and I guess it's something I always can remember.
And your opponent here, Jai Herbert, how much do you know about him? Obviously, UFC debut looked really good against Francisco Trinaldo, was winning that entire fight, and just until he got caught and got knocked out. Like, how much do you know about him?
I don't know much. I went back and watched him fight. He's good. He's really good. Nice, good jab. A good cross. I don't think his ground game's that good. Maybe he's doing a lot of groundwork, prepared for me. I think it's gonna be a great fight for me. I've never went for a submission before. I think this might be the first fight that I actually try to go for a submission attempt and actually get it.
Is that kind of a bucket list thing? You obviously have all the knockouts, you have all the UFC wins. That kind of the next thing on that bucket list, get a submission win?
Yeah, man, because I train with Chiquinho Mendez and Tim Welch and Sean O'Malley, all these dudes, and I've been working on my jiu-jitsu a lot. So hopefully I can go in there and showcase some of the things I've been working on.
Well, you just brought up there, I was going to ask you about it later, but I guess I could just ask you about it now. You left Fight Ready, right? Because now you're doing a bit of training with Sean O'Malley and Tim and doing some other work at different gyms? Yeah.
I'm no longer at Fight Ready anymore. The coach that I went over there, it just didn't work out between me and him, so, I had to move on and do what's best for me. And I think what I'm doing now, it's a lot better, you know what I mean? Because if I drive an hour, I know I'm gonna get the work I need, you know what I mean? So I don't know, I just gotta do what I gotta do.
And with Jai Herbert, he has to be one of the taller lightweights, like 6'1", like a 77-inch reach. Like he has a pretty big reach advantage on you. How do you think you're gonna have to adjust to that? Because obviously that is a big one where he might be able to just keep you outside with that jab, like close the distance. I imagine is obviously a big part of your game plan.
I don't know, just close the distance. I'm an aggressive fighter. Just get in his face, make it ugly. I don't think he likes that pressure. I don't think he likes when the fight's ugly like that. Just keep it on him, take him down, make him work, and get the finish.
Obviously, O'Malley's a bantamweight, but how important do you think his look is for this fight? Because he's one of those long, rangy guys that likes to use a jab and not let people get into his distance.
I think moving around with him is good because he has he's really good. Like a lot of feints, quick. He's in and out, moving. Just that movement, I think, is going to help me. Especially that timing. Herbert.
How glad are you this fight's not in it's in Vegas, not in Fight Island? You can only make a little quick drive instead of that long flight.
Yeah, I don't got a passport, so it's a little easier for me. Like, they called me up and like, oh, we want you to fight. I don't got a passport, sorry.
So you're in no rush to get one now, then?
No rush.
Just a few more things. Obviously, this fight, like we've talked about, is early in the year. Are you hoping get your hand raised and then finally be able to string a couple fights together in this year and get some momentum going again?
Yeah, man. I'm just, I had did an interview before, and Dude, I'm just trying to get money now, man. I'm not trying to chase that belt because the UFC already knows who they want to be champion. And it's the same couple people always fighting. Like you look at the top 10, Alaquinta's still in there. He hasn't fought in like 2 years. Like, I don't know. To me, it's just ridiculous. I'm just trying to get these paychecks.
Well, speed of that is obviously not in your division, but if you looked at bantamweight for, I think it was like 3-4 years in a row, it was only Faber, Cruz, and Dillashaw had fought for the bantamweight titles. Only 3 guys in the span of like 4 years fought for the belt.
It's crazy. It's like your grandfathered in once you get into the top 10. It's ridiculous.
So are you just really focused on make as much money as you can? Hopefully you can get some performance of the night bonuses. Like you're no in real hurry or really care if you're fighting ranked guys or not?
No, I'm to the point now. It don't matter to me anymore because, you know what I mean? If, I can win 10 fights in a row and still not fight for a title, just like Charles Oliveira. It's like, he's out there doing his thing. At least give him a title shot.
Well, what kind of made that switch happen for you?
Just this time off, man. Just realizing that it's a business. You know what I mean? And it's, if you're not out there talking shit and showing out for the cameras, it's like they're not gonna push you.
And that's the thing too, is I see everyone saying like, oh, they just need to promote themselves or trash talk more. But when you're not a natural trash talker and you try to force it, it doesn't sound good. Like it makes you even look worse. So it's even hard to force stuff like that.
Yeah. Especially like, I like to trash talk with my friends, but it's like it's kind of hard to do it when you fight because you have to go out there and fight the guy. If you talk all this shit, you go out there and get beat up. It's like you just talked all this stuff for nothing.
And like just for reference, we're talking the day after Conor got knocked out, but like you look at Conor, he talked all that stuff, and you can't go on Twitter or anything and not see that picture of him out cold and people memeing and stuff.
I know. I'm guilty. I had posted that picture. It's but hey, that's the game. You know what I mean? Like who was it? Michael Chandler yesterday talking about reaping the reward. You know what I mean? You go out there, if you talk the stuff and then you go out there and back it up, you get rewarded for it.
Are you surprised the UFC hasn't tried to push you a lot more? Because I know you had that stretch where you're getting a lot of decisions, but they were really entertaining fights. I think for the UFC, I think they care so much about finishes, but it could be a terrible fight and it could just be one good punch and everyone just goes, oh, you got the knockout. Or it could be 15 minutes of just back and forth and have a good fight, but that they don't want to push it because it goes to a decision.
Yeah, that's kind of like who was that? Was that Masvidal when he fought Till? Wasn't he getting beat by Till and then he just got lucky and clipped him and that changed his whole thing and then he went out there and I don't know. It's just like I'm one punch away from actually getting a title shot or it's just crazy how this sport is.
Just a few more things. Obviously, with Courtney, when do you think she's going to be back in there? Because she's obviously supposed to fight in October, and then that obviously her opponent missed weight and all that. And I'm surprised they haven't tried to rebook her sooner.
Oh, she has a fight. I'm not sure if they announced it yet, but she's fighting sometime in March.
Would you guys ever want to share a card together?
I wanted her to be on this card, but she didn't. She don't want it. She don't want to fight with me on the same card.
Do you get more nervous for your fight or her fight?
More for hers because I know, like, when I go in there, like, I can just do what I got to do and get the win, But for hers, it's like I'm a little nervous, or any teammate, I'm more nervous for their fight than mine because I can control it.
Yeah, exactly. Like you can't go in there and help them if they're getting beat up. There's nothing really you can do. At least if you're getting beat up, you can try to switch something and make it change. I
mean, I can help them after the fight. We can jump them in the bag, but
just the last thing, like everything goes your way. Like, what's the ideal 2021 for you? Obviously, get a couple fights, get a couple wins, but in your ideal world, what's this year look like for you?
Beat Hubert, and then fight some of these contender series guys.
Is that your goal, actually?
Nah. Be honest, man. Look, just, I want good fights for me. You know what I mean? Fights that's gonna get me paid. Like I know it's gonna be hard to get a title shot. Even though I string, some wins along. Fight my contract out, see what happens from there.
Well, how many more fights are on your contract?
I have 3 more, I believe.
So is that something that you want to do, is just fight it out and see what free agency is? Because you see more and more fighters actually testing free agent. Because like a couple years ago, no one ever even thought of going to free agency.
Yeah, man. Like I'm trying to, I've never won a belt in any other organization. I've beat guys that won belts. You know what I mean? Like I want to get a belt, and I don't care where it's at. You know what I mean? So if it means me fighting out my contract and going somewhere else to do it, so be it. But I love fighting in the UFC.
Yeah.
But it's hard. It's hard to get a belt there, especially at 155, because there's so many guys.
Actually, just one more thing. Sorry, is obviously new team with you. Who's gonna be in your corner for this one then?
I'm gonna have Courtney, my teammate Brent, and my striking coach Damian.
All right, well, Drakkar, thank you so much for the time, man. I really appreciate it.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate it.